What is going on, Bucs fans and CFP fans? Evan Wanish here, back at you with yet another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today we are going to be taking a look at the players to watch in the Buccaneers Week 16 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. The Bucs are in Dallas, and they're looking to extend their winning streak to 5 games this time around. Following an impressive win against the Chargers, Bucs are looking to make it 5 in a row here against America's team. But with that being said, we do have some players to watch on offense and on defense for you guys. Joining me today is my CFP co-host, Mr. Rhett Matthew. Rhett, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. Excited for this matchup. The Buccaneers back on primetime again, which is a place they have struggled this year. And we have said it before, every game from here on out for the Bucs is a trap game. So this one certainly has the makings of it. But there are a lot of things I like about this matchup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and some of these players we're going to talk about today are just a few reasons why.
For sure, and let's get right into it. So we're going to talk about first the Buccaneers running back. So that includes Bucky Irving and Rachaad White. So Dallas defense, right? The Dallas Cowboys defense has struggled a little bit against the run this year, right? And I think the Buccaneers are coming off of a game where, man, they really did a nice job of controlling that game, controlling the clock, and running the football efficiently with both Irving and Rachaad White. I think they both did a pretty good job. I think the Buccaneers are going to need to do another good job of that this week to be able to move the ball, keep the chains moving, control the clock, and keep the Dallas offense off the field. So shorten the game a little bit, if you will. And I think Bucky Irving and Rachaad White could have a pretty big day and pretty big role in doing that.
Yeah, this is a Dallas team that, like you said, has struggled against the run this year to the tune of 136.1 yards allowed per game, which ranks 29th in the NFL for run defense. The Bucs rushing offense is among the league's best right now, 148 yards per game being averaged. And Bucky Irving, both of these running backs have played well, but Bucky Irving in his own right, averaging 6.3 yards per carry in his rookie season, is almost unheard of when you talk about Buccaneers running back. So the fact that they have been this impactful to the offense so far this season, and they are getting better as the year goes on, might I add. Rachaad White had a couple of big-time touchdowns over the last couple of weeks. I mean, things are rolling in the right direction. And Bucky Irving now with, I think it's right around 148 yards until he hits 1,000 on the ground. If this matchup really plays into the Buccaneers' favor, he could hit that number as soon as this week, as crazy as it sounds.
Maybe, and I think the Bucs are going to be relying on the run game, but also not ignore their passing game, and that leads us to another player to watch, and it's mostly because of certain things, right? It's going to be Mike Evans because we are getting down to the end of the season, right? He had that great performance against LA, had the 2 touchdowns, had the 2 long touchdowns, right? The 2 explosive plays there, and he is getting closer to 1,000 yards again. Obviously, he's not going to hit that this week. Like Bucky Irving may hit 1,000 yards this week. Mike Evans is, I guess anything's possible, but very, 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 very unlikely that he hits 1,000 yards this week. But he's on the road to 1K. Hopefully he can get there with 3 games remaining. Mike Evans, I think, is some way that the Buccaneers are going to want to get going here early and often in this matchup.
Yeah, the Cowboys are without Trayvon Diggs, one of their top corners. He is out for the year. So when you think about who they have readily available to shadow Mike Evans for an entire game, it's going to be a tough matchup, and Mike is a guy that, as the wide receiver one of this team, he has proven week in and week out that he can still get open, he can still get his. Now, whether it is more of a decoy role to try and set some things up underneath for some of these other pass catchers who have been stepping up, Cade Otton not going to be in the game this week, so maybe it's a Payne Durham, maybe it's a Jalen McMillan, but Mike Evans, without a doubt, no matter what kind of role he has for the Bucs that week, he is offensive target number 1 for most defensive coordinators in the NFL as well. And I think Dallas is going to need an answer for him.
Yeah, this is something that I think the Bucs are going to be trying to get him the ball. So I think Dallas is going to have to be prepared, and hopefully they're not, though, right? Hopefully they're not ready for what the Buccaneers are going to throw at them. But let's switch it over to the defensive side of the ball, and we're going to focus along the defensive line, and we're going to single out one player, though. We're going to talk about Calijah Kancey, who I thought had a pretty decent day against LA. Didn't really show up much in the stat sheet, but I thought when you looked at the tape, he had a couple of plays, had a couple of near sacks, has 6 sacks on the season, so is still in contention for to potentially get the team lead in sacks at the end of the year. We'll see if he can accomplish that. But Kancey's been really good for the Bucs. Hopefully he can continue that. And again, I think it's important to not only impact the running game, right? Rico Dowdle has been pretty good for Dallas to slow down the Cowboys rushing attack, but also rush the passer and affect Cooper Rush to make him uncomfortable, right? Make him get the ball out maybe a half second quicker than he wants to and affect him in multiple ways. So I think Kancey could play a big factor in this one.
Yeah, Kancey's skills as a pass rusher, I think, are the biggest X factor for him being along that Buccaneers defensive line. Really, him and Vita Vea this season have been the main source of pressure on most opposing quarterbacks for that Bucs defensive line. So we've talked time and time again about the importance of a four-man pass rush. Listen, as long as they can get to the QB this week, that's all that matters. Last week, they got to Justin Herbert. They were using spare parts. They were throwing linebackers. Levante David got a sack and a half. But Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea, those big two interior guys up front, they have been the basis all year long for any kind of pass rush the Bucs can get. So I think he is definitely the biggest X factor on the defensive line this week, looking for another big game from Kancey. And I think he gets a sack. He's got a nice little streak for himself going. I'd love to see it continue.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I think he's still in contention for to be able to be the team leader in sacks. So we'll see what ends up happening there, but let's keep it along the defensive side of the ball, and we're going to focus a little bit on the Bucs secondary, but we're going to single out the Buccaneers corners, and it is because they're playing up against one of the better wide receivers in the NFL in CeeDee Lamb. Lamb had a really nice day against Carolina last week, had over 100 yards, 116 yards, I think, and a touchdown. So the Bucs corners are going to need to be on their P's and Q's, right? Jamel Dean, Zion McCollum, whoever's up against CeeDee Lamb. We mentioned it on our game preview show. During this 4-game win streak, it's been good, and the Bucs defense has played better, but they really haven't played. I would say an elite weapon. Malik Neighbors is a good player. Rookie, sort of hasn't really fully developed yet. Brock Bowers, rookie, hasn't really fully developed yet. And CeeDee Lamb is one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. So I think the Buccaneers are going to need to be prepared for that. I think the Cowboys are going to lean on him heavily, but especially in the quick screen game. I think they're going to just get the ball in his hands and let him go to work after the catch. So I think the Bucs corners are going to have a pretty good day containing CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, tall test for Zion McCollum, who has been far and away the Buccaneers' best corner, but even Jamel Dean getting back into the lineup, getting healthy again, and had a great game last week against Justin Herbert, came down with that interception when he threw it up on a prayer. It is a tall task for both of these guys. You are truly going to see what they are made of when they match up against one of the NFL's best, because I don't think it's going to be an entire game of 1v1. It's not going to be Zion McCollum covering CeeDee Lamb the whole game. These guys are really going to have to work together here to try and shut down a very potent weapon in the NFL, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's going to go a long way in determining, who wins this football game. If CeeDee Lamb goes off, I think the Buccaneers could find themselves in a shootout, and you never really know what could happen in a shootout. But let us know if you are watching any particular players, whether that be on offense or defense. We're always curious to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Let us know what you think about the players that we decided to keep a close eye on. Do you like any of them? Do you disagree with any of them? Let us know in the comment section below. But thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and go Bucs.